How can you say we're going to have the water if we're giving the water all away?
Who's giving it to?
I don't know. Ask him. He's the one
I
that's
can't
wanting-
find anybody.
He's the one that's wanting to give it away.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I'll follow up on what Wes was saying. I mean, there were 6 or 7 subdivisions that wanted water. Some are annexed, some are not. Some have pipes, some don't. Some pay money, some don't. It's all over the place. And it's all over the place because the original license, 11395, wasn't followed. And it clearly was done intentionally. If you go back and you look at the records in the 1980s, you heard discussions in this room. People arguing, is it in or is it out? Wes Snyder said it's in. He went out there and did it, and it was in.
And it was out.
And it went on and on and on like that. And Danny, you're being very disingenuous when you talk about for the community. Your definition of community is a far cry of what mine is. My community are the people that are entitled to the Merced River water. They're the people that bought the property with all the rules and the regulations, a CID, a community development, with all the strings attached to their property with that. But the one thing we had was water. And that's what everybody wants. They don't want our property, they don't want our rules, they don't want to live in the subdivision, they just want the water. And even before you were on the board, you were talking about doing that. And you got on here and you did it. And the way you did it, personally, I think is criminal.
I have a comment to make. You mentioned Don Pedro. We contacted Don Pedro for water. Don Pedro don't own any water. Different agencies own water, including the city and county of San Francisco. So how can you contact Don Pedro when they don't own any water?
If you want to wordsmith, when I say Don Pedro, I related to the Modesto Irrigation District, I could have said the list, but to make it graphic so people can relate to it, I said we went to that agency to see if we could get water out of that reservoir.
Yeah, but majority, probably 40 to 45% of the water is owned by city and county of San Francisco.
And he said that.
No, he did not. He said Don Pedro. And the other good thing is you mentioned the wells. I talked to geological survey people, and they said the wells water is only good enough if you have any rain, because the well water is the future. They don't have any water other if it doesn't rain, period. It's not like a valley. And you have to also be careful because a lot of contamination to wells also is.
Any other public comment?
Are we moving down the agenda?
We're moving down the agenda. We're to General Manager's report.
Mr. President, just from the perspective of getting to your board's action items that are on the agenda, you had public comment up front for items that were not on the agenda, and then we take public comment on each item on the agenda before the board takes any action on that. And the reports are simply just the information that's prepared by staff and delivered to the board for information. Okay, so they're informational. They're not required by any law or any code. It's a standard of this district to receive a report, whether it's a president's report, general manager's report, operations report. It's at your discretion to what information you want to get. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. So that's why you direct to have these reports for your information on this agenda. There's no requirement to take continued and extending public comment on each and every item covered in every report, because we could be here all night and not even get to the action items, which is what you're required to do. You're required to vote and take action on items that are on the agenda. The reports typically aren't, the reports that we're doing now typically aren't directly related to those items on the agenda. They're usually addressing issues from previous meetings or things that have come up that need some public discussion or input. When it comes to my written report, there's absolutely no way that I can address each and every point that comes up during the entire month. There's just, there's a lot of action that goes on. There's a lot of questions that are asked. There are a lot of concerns expressed. There are a lot of emails generated back and forth. So we do our best, I do our best to try to convey what we can in these reports. And then as items come up, as they did in the board meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting.